This is LCIL 414 when we're crossing the ocean in March of 1944. I'm trying to show you here how rough the ocean was, how big the waves, and how the waves in the ship went up and down. This is an 8mm film I took when you weren't supposed to have cameras in the Navy. This is in the Tamar River in Plymouth, England. That's another LCI. This is an LCVP run by British Waves. We used this as a Liberty boat to take the men and the officers ashore when they wanted to go. The LCIs were all tied up at trot buoys, 3 or 4 at each buoy. The film is a little old. You can see the spots that's deteriorating. There's the British Waves. And there's Captain Brown. He's a nice-looking guy. This is over in France at Omaha Beach in Normandy. This part is on D-Day. We now have a new captain by the name of Erickson. Film is a little faded out now. That's the GI cans we use to wash the soldiers' mess kits in. That's Omaha Beach on D-Day. A lot of wreckage in there. See that ammunition burning? Little guy in front is Doherty, and that's Smith. Okay, this is after D-Day when we were the hotel ship for the building of the Mulberry. That's a Rhino ferry. It unloads from the freighter right on there. They run it up on the beach. They wait for the tide to go down, and everything just drives off. These freighters, were sinking them to make a breakwater. See that one that's so low in the water that we've already sank that one. We have a whole row of them sunk there now. That's a Phoenix unit. That's Katikian. That's the bridging that goes from the bridgehead to the beach so that the trucks can ride along there and go into the beach without waiting for the tide to go up and down. This is the battleship Centurion. We're about to sink it now. You'll see the smoke come out and the explosion shakes me up. There it is. The British used that as a spare battleship all during the war, although it really wasn't. It was too old and just ran around to make everybody think it was another battleship. Captain Clark was the head of the building of the Mulberry, and Commander Bassett was his main seaman there to sink everything where it belonged. He had been head tugmaster in New York City. That's a survey boat with the captain. This is his, that's Commander Bassett, and that's the SC with the M for Mulberry there that the captain stayed on most of the time was a Coast Guard ship, and they ran around the harbor looking and instructing everyone as to what to do. Freighters unloading. The outermost breakwater, a chain together bunch of half-submerged things called the bombardment. That's an LCM. This is the beach, the wreckage on the beach. There's old Reed's LCI. Washed out pretty good there. There's Mr. Smith, Rufus Jackson Smith from North Carolina. This is playing handball on the deck of the Centurion, the battleship we sunk. And there's our LCI tied up alongside. In about 5 minutes, the Germans started to shell us, and we had to get out of there fast. This is from the pier head looking on across the floating bridging to the shore. That's the circle of ships and Phoenix units all sunk around, so we had a protected harbor. The lower ones have already been sunk, and the upper one is about to be sunk. We're going to have 3 bridgeheads and then 3 bridges into the beach, all tied together. Can't see him very well, but that's Captain Ellisberg. It came there just before the storm, then came back afterward to see if he could help us salvage anything. This is when we were bringing some soldiers ashore. We didn't do this very often. There's Captain Erickson, Mr. Smith, and then me, I guess. And Lawler, the pharmacist mate, and then Mr. Blue. This is the mess detail. I don't remember all the names anymore. It's been too long ago. 40-some years, 45 years now. The one on the extreme right is Teal. He was the cook. The other three were mostly assigned to him at individual times to clean up the kitchen and clean up the tables and peel the potatoes and stuff. This is back in Weymouth, England. That's the fella from Yugoslavia that was the lowest rating on the ship. He never spent a cent the whole 2 years. When we finally returned to the States, he had more money than anyone. There's Mr. Blue and Mr. Smith. There's a lot of the crew. Smitty right down on the bottom right. Sheary there in the center. Davis in front of him. Hamrick. The one on the left is Fletcher. And that's Fletcher in back of him. It's like Captain Inspection. Yeah, there goes McMahon. He was the gunner. Captain Erickson, Lawler, Mr. Smith, Mr. Blue, Kazikian. He was the bosun's mate. This is when we gave the Bronze Star to one of the men. This is in Weymouth, England, or Lymington. There's Reed on the right, and then Blue, and then the doctor, and Smith on the left. There's Mr. Blue. This is in Weymouth, England. We're all waiting for an inspection by the Admiral, Admiral Stark, chief of all the naval forces in Europe. Here he comes. See all the scrambled eggs on his cap. That's Commander Henry, the flotilla commander at that point. Good chance to take pictures. Everyone's all dressed up. That's Doctor on the left, and Reed, his was the ship that was sunk, so he became a member of the flotilla staff. There's the Admiral leaving and going to the next LCI. He's going to do the same thing on that one. Ah, there's me. This is DE Day. In April of 45, we were still over in Southampton. That's our go-to-hell pennant. Captain Erickson had read about that from Admiral Dewey over in Japan. Made it 1 foot long for each week or day we were overseas. That's Hamrick. He's blowing a horn. Commander Henry coming aboard. This is a troop ship coming back from North Africa. War in North Africa had been over. This was the soldiers that had been there for 4 or 5 years coming home. That's it, folks. Let's see how that turned out.